or Dr. Michaels?
I guess all
Okay.
I have to say about that is that for whatever reason, pardon? I can't hear what you're saying. All I would say about that is that for whatever reason, the increase in concern about global warming has been accompanied by a lot of really significant and interesting and hopeful changes in technology regarding solar power, including solar power vehicles. It certainly seems possible to me that there's some kind of relation there. And if so, then yeah, that would be, I would hate to, if it's as bad as I'm concerned it is, I would hate for that to have had to be the spur that leads us to those technological advances, but it certainly wouldn't be the first time in human history that something like that happened.
Excuse me. The incident radiation at the top of the atmosphere is about 1,367 watts per meter squared. You have to divide that by 4 because the Earth is a disk, so you're at about 400 watts per meter squared. Let's say you have a 20% efficiency on 400 watts per meter squared, so you're now down to about 80 watts per meter squared. What vehicle are you going to run on that? How many pounds will that move?
I don't know.
How many pounds?
I don't know if you want us to go too much further on this question.
No, I'm serious, because you said something that
you
physics.
You are assuming that there would be no technological advances.
I assume the sun won't get hotter.
You would assume that there would be no technological advances in what's
There will be no perpetual motion
You're
machines.
interrupting me for the second time. I'm sorry. You're assuming that there would be no technological advances in things like capacitors, which store energy, in improvements in transmission and things like that, in the ability to swap out batteries, in other kinds of new technologies that might be synergistic with alternative power vehicles. You made a good point, I think, that yes, when we focus, we use markets primarily to focus on increasing efficiency and increasing creativity, we get some wonderful results. The same thing goes for alternative energy. And for you to say that it's true when it comes to other energy sources, but not true to alternative energy, the equivalent of that plutonium that you put into a ball and blow up the city, I don't think that's consistent, and I don't think it's true.
Well, and I'd just like to add, too, that as a geologist, I'm aware that 85% of the Earth's energy comes from fossil fuels, and that renewable energies and other forms of energy still need to be developed. I don't know what their potential is, because I'm not an energy expert, but those may be able to take over a significant portion of that 85%. I don't know. But there's no reason why, if we're going to use fossil fuels, that we can't be doing carbon sequestration. And we have methodologies for doing that. It's just putting a restriction on just the free emission of CO2 into the environment that we're talking about. And actually, probably one of the biggest issues driving climate change is actually animal agriculture. In the terms of the fossil fuels that animal agriculture and nitrate pollution causes, I can talk to you about how that indirectly leads to CO2 emission. And so, this isn't like a wholesale attack on the fossil fuel industry. This is an ability to look at the problem and say, we need energy as human species in order to grow our food, in order to get around, in order to do whatever we do. But can we do this responsibly, and can we put some responsibility on any form of CO2 emissions? Cement plants are some of the largest CO2 emitters in the country. And one of the technologies that I'm talking about, writing about, is actually on a cement plant right now, doing carbon sequestration off a cement plant. So it's combined. It's not a fight between industries. We need to get industries to work together.
I'd like to just address for a moment the problem of the costs of carbon dioxide, the costs of a fossil fuel powered economy, because we read glib statements that global warming will cause 30 million deaths or something like that. Well, the fact of the matter is that, as I mentioned a few minutes before, life expectancy doubled in the fossil fuel powered economies of the Western world. And let's just say in the United States that there were 200 million people alive during that doubling of life expectancy. That means that that society saved 100 million lives. Doubling life expectancy is the same as adding an additional life. So let's take a look at both sides of the equations, the costs and the benefits. And I don't think there's very many people around who would not tell you that the sum total of the benefits has far outweighed the costs.
Well, I
Okay,
disagree with that because
gonna-
if the interior of the United States can no longer grow our food, look at those sand hills, we're in trouble.
Well, that's all very nice, but the fact of the matter is, as you put more carbon dioxide in the air, the optimum temperature for photosynthesis goes up, and furthermore, there are whole ranges of crops that grow in much warmer temperatures than we could ever generate in the United States. So let's keep the
We're going to
scaremongering
go
out of
on
this.
to the next question. Now, if your I have two more questions, and one I cannot read. So if it's not your question, I'm sorry, I could not read your writing. We tried. Recent publications show the deficit in atmospheric heating is because the ocean water warmed and absorbed the missing heat. Are you aware of that, Dr. Michaels?
Of course, and that's a very interesting point. If you disappear the warming into the deep ocean, you might be disappearing an awful lot of it, which might explain why you're not getting the warming at the surface. But that warming's shot. It takes a very, very long time to get heat up from the abyssal depths into the atmosphere. So yeah, that may be the reason why you're not seeing the warming that was predicted. Yeah, I'm aware of it, and I'm watching that space very carefully.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I would like to end by thanking all of the presenters. And also, I would like to let you know who some of the people in the audience were tonight. We have former State Senator John Lewis with us tonight. He's right over there. We also have Phil Falcone, who's director of Joe's War. It's a documentary, I believe, with Ed Asner and Armand Asante. And I believe he walked out, and he's in the lobby right now. And then we also have Salah Salia, who is a casting director and appeared in American Sniper. And then last but not least, certainly, is Amin David, who is the founder of Los Amigos, a community organization. And we have Dr. Patricia Adelakhan, who is with Youth on the Move. And we also have Cynthia Ward, who is the president of Cato, Coalition of Anaheim Taxpayers for Economic Responsibility. And Brian Chichua, who is also with Cato, and he's known as Mr. Jeep, because he had the largest Jeep dealership in Orange County at one point. And then I also see the president of the Anaheim Republican Assembly, Benita Gagné. Thank you for being here. And a very well-established attorney, Douglas Pettibone, who ran for Anaheim City Council